Hi and welcome to another episode of the Git command line guide. This time we will learn how to use external Git repositories in order to exchange data. These external repositories, they will be some sort of central spot that multiple people can use. So in order to make that work for Karl and Lenny, of course we have to change the situation a bit. Let's have a look and see what we have here. Oh, Karl has his own computer now as well as Lenny has. You know, we're using the same computer, but now thanks to the switch, they're not able to access each other's data anymore because it is on different computers after all. They still want to continue working on their common project, the Hello World Python program, which means that they have to adjust their setup a tiny bit just to show that the last remote setup will not work anymore. I will just try to fetch from Lenny while in Karl's repository. And as you can see, it doesn't work because that path is invalid. It doesn't exist anymore. It's truly the case. So first things first, let's just remove the remote that doesn't make sense anymore and prepare to add a central or shared repository that is in some sort of public space. To do that, I'll switch over to GitHub, where it's really easy to create a new public repository. Public repositories are free, that shall be said. Everybody can read them, but only you can write them. In case you want to have your private space, you can either pay for it or use Bitbucket, for instance. For now, I'm happy with having a public space and I create the repository here. It's just easier for me. So GitHub will give you a URL that you can use in your remote configuration. It also shows you how to do it, even though we will do it, well, slightly differently, but it's still the same thing. Interesting fact, you can use this URL or just the URL that you see in your browser. I usually use the one that I see in my browser. Switching back to my shell, I will be able to add GitHub as a remote like so. Git remote add GitHub, and I just paste the URL I've just copied. Fine. If I fetch from this, nothing will happen because, well, the repository is still empty. I have to fill it with the latest data that I have by saying git push. That's a new one. Git push. Where to push to? To GitHub. GitHub is just a symbol, right? It's just a name for my URL so that I don't have to type it all the time and remember that. So I want to push to GitHub, and what do I want to push? My master branch, because that's the latest state that we both know of. Awesome. Let's do that and see what's happening. Did that arrive? It appears so. So our local master was pushed to the remote at this URL, created a new master branch there, which is now representing exactly our state. So if I go back to the website and refresh the page, you'll see that all of a sudden I have my files here. And I can do lots of things that I don't want to go in now, but GitHub is a great place to work together and track a lot of things if you are inclined to do so. So that's great. Now Karl can actually make a change and push that change to the new central data exchange location, which is on GitHub. We move to GitHub. Yay. That's nice. Git commit -all changed, and the message is GitHub notification message. Oh, that's one of the worst messages I've ever written in my life, that's for sure. And now I push my changes here. It will tell me that it doesn't know where to push things from because my remote setup or my tracking branch setup is not yet done. So you remember, if Git should be able to pull and fetch and push automatically, we have to tell it which remote branch is associated with our current branch. So git branch set upstream to GitHub master. So that will tell Git everything it needs to know that if I say git push to GitHub master, please. If you don't do that, you have to type it out, like git push github master all the time. That works as well, but hey, you know, let's save some time here. Good. Let's go back to the web page just to see if it really arrived. I'm quite confident it did. So here the GitHub notification message, that's what I've just done. Let's go back once again to our shell and have a look at Lenny's computer. Hello world, git fetch. Oh there, what is this? Git fetch Karl. It doesn't work. Same thing here. Git remote remove Karl, because it's still pointing to the local directory, which is not accessible anymore. Then we add a new GitHub remote. I shall just copy the one from the browser and paste this here, similarly to what Karl did. By the way, permissions play a role. So right now it's using my account actually to access the repository. If you want to use GitHub for this, everybody who uses the GitHub repository needs a GitHub account, and then you have to set write permissions to the respective GitHub users. Everybody can read and clone the repository, but only specific people can write it, just for security reasons, obviously. All right, so first things first, let's fetch the latest changes. And maybe I just set up my remote tracking branch right away. But first, I definitely have to fetch, because right now I have no data from the remote whatsoever. Yes, let's specify it. There we go. So with that in place, you know, now we have a remote tracking branch that tracks master on my remote called GitHub. And I want to associate my local master branch. Well, that's actually not my local master branch. I want to associate my local master branch with that remote branch. How do I do it? We've done that before. Git branch set upstream to, and then GitHub master. Awesome. So now I can just pull to fetch the latest changes and merge them in. A merge will be a fast forward here, because I didn't change anything in the meanwhile. Like so. So let's have a look at the changes. TXT, we see, we moved to GitHub. So let's comment on that. Makes me so happy. Yeah, feeling good. I think that's how they would possibly talk to with each other. I don't know. And again, let's commit all the changes that I've done. Lenny's message to Karl. Yeah, I don't know. That's one of the worst messages, even worse than the last one, but I can't be bothered. And now I will push my changes straight to GitHub. I don't have to specify it because I've set up my tracking correctly. And there we go. If I just have a look at the GitHub web page, I shall see that now Lenny has made the last commit. Awesome. And now this can be going back and forth. And something that you have to remind yourself of, in the moment you start working on anything that has a external remote that other people actually push to, do yourself a favor and pull before, you know, so that you at least start at the latest version. If you don't pull, then you are likely to start on an outdated version, and then you might get merge conflicts that otherwise could have been prevented, depending on the complexity of the program or of the project that you're working on. That should be it for this time. Thanks for watching and have a good day.